Hi, this is the Geek Protagonist, and seeing this Variety article, I wanted to break down some of the stuff, go through it, kind of speed it through, and see what it is. So, Warner Media Studios CEO Ann Sarnoff says that the release of the Zack Snyder's Justice League will complete the director's superhero trilogy. It's not a trilogy. Reinforcing the studio's desire to move past the social media campaign to hand back control of the film universe to the filmmaker. Instead, Sarnoff believes that the future of DC is more than just movies. She's excited about a multi-platform future, one that sees Batman, Superman, and The Flash, and other Justice League members popping up on streaming shows, video games, television spin-offs, the big screen outings. It's a vision that echoes what Marvel has been doing with the Avengers characters, taking superheroes like the Vision and Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, and Loki, who have previously appeared only in movies, and giving them streaming shows of their own. The Warner Media Studios chief is also excited about the diverse range of characters she's been enlisting to tell some of those stories, which includes tapping Between the World and Me author Ta-Nehisi Coates to write a Superman film or developing Blue Beetle, which marks the company's first Latinx superhero movie. Okay, first of all, it's just Latin. Stop with the Latinx. I've had Latin friends and stuff. They're all like, that's dumb. It's Latin or Latino or Latina. Simple as that. Like, or just say Latin. Stop trying to always add stuff to language. It's over. I'm done with that. Ta-Nehisi Coates' Captain America run was trash. Honestly, I don't think he added that much to Black Panther as much as he added to the realm of Wakanda. So I'll give him that. Of course, I guess I'll do a video about that, this new Superman, because I wasn't feeling it, but I wanted to wait till I had more information. And now that I know that it's Calvin, the Superman that became a president, I have some things to talk about. Also, this whole Batman, Superman, The Flash, and other League members popping up on streaming shows. Really? First off, yeah, because, Superman's never been on TV. Oh, wait. The Flash isn't on TV. Wait. The only character who's not on TV is Batman. I mean, he hasn't shown up on any of your streaming show. Oh, wait. Titans. And Batwoman. But yeah, these characters never shown up. Now, if you're telling me you're going to take the movie characters and transition them, or the actors and transition them over, that will be like Marvel. Because see, one of the big problems I have with DC, I keep hearing things where they keep trying to echo Marvel. Stop doing that. You're not Marvel. And you shouldn't want to be Marvel. You should be doing your own thing. Also, no. If you're not going to reinstate the Snyderverse, which I can understand from a business point why, because you guys want to distance yourself and you really didn't even want to do the Snyder Cut movie because, toxic fans, and instead of giving fans what they want, then here's a counter argument to that. Why don't you give him another movie called Justice League, something, right? And tell him, or this thing he did before, you have 4 hours to wrap this story up. And have it be where he takes his 2 films, he nixes all the side stuff. Let him do what he wants, just like he did this time, right? So he can introduce and put in the Atom and stuff. And give a 4-hour movie thing, just like he did, which will do the Dark Side War, where Dark Side comes to Earth, do that whole thing, and then even finish off the storyline that he wanted to do, and then have it be like, okay, do this story, like I said, 4 hours, hell, 5 hours if you want, but I understand why it was at least 4. Make it, technically, you can make it a little series, right? And why in the world? And you could do that. Give the fans what they want. At least let him finish that. I think that would be a good way to handle that. At the very least. So, I think because of where they left it, I know they're like, well, you guys got what you wanted, leave us alone. No. Also, it'll give you more content on your streaming platform. So why not? Don't restore the whole universe because you don't want to, which means you guys are going to try to mess it up. At least let him finish the story. This doesn't finish the story. This proves by the reaction that everyone has, people like what he did. So let him get another 4-hour movie. Take those 2 films he has and put it that way. But I did hear he's supposed to be doing a comic with Jim Lee to finish out the universe. At least it's something, because there's a lot of universes I want to continue and they're done. So, but I think personally they should continue his universe and be like DC's Black Label Snyderverse, but do a 4-hour movie and take his 2 Justice League movie and tell him you have 4 hours. So I don't care how you split it up or tell the story. They could do in a 4-hour time span. They could do the entire invasion. They could do the Nightmare thing, rebuild it, and then have it where his plan with Clark Wayne or Bruce Kent, and do that, and then kind of have a really cool thing in the future and show like a future Justice League and kind of have them do the pose thing and end it there as a bright future. I think you should do that. Just give him another 4-hour epic if you're not going to give him any more. But, you know, Marvel, on the other hand, their characters haven't had the same things yours. We've seen these characters on TV. And if you really want to impress me, make a Batman show. Let's see. And Blue Beetle, sure, why not? You had him on Smallville. And Blue Beetle is a good character. So, with Jaime Reyes, I think that'd be cool. But Sarnoff may have to deal with an unruly and emboldened fan base, one that successfully pushed Warner Media to release the 4-hour rated R version of Justice League. Yes, and you should do rated R. Which was truer to Snyder's darker vision for the characters. Sarnoff spoke to the Variety on Sunday, 5 days after the Snyder Cut started streaming on HBO Max. Notice she waited a while. About catering to DC fan base and the future of DC, and the actor Ray Fisher allegations of misconduct and racial bias during his shooting of Justice League. So I'm going to go through the questions really quick. Why did you decide to release Zack Snyder's Justice League? We want to give Zack the opportunity to complete his vision in a 4-hour movie, which is impossible to do in theaters. We're happy that we have HBO Max to let the rope out, as it would allow the fan base to see all 4 hours of his vision. That's not completing his vision. That was completing the vision of that part, and he's going to set up the next universe. Let him complete his vision in another one. What are your plans going forward for DC? We've got an incredible group of creators, television creators, Max series creators, feature film creators, which are basically broadening the base of the talent that we work with on DC, because we're so excited about the potential to build out the DC multiverse. It's one of the reasons why I was hired almost 2 years ago. The before and after, it was a very siloed organization with no connectivity between the businesses. DC was being developed, but in a kind of monolithic way in each division. My mantra coming in was to make it bigger, broader, and we really want to surprise and delight the fans with more connective tissue across the various media and platforms. I'm talking movies, HBO Max television, and our game division. Now, I think what he means there is how we got the crossover of the 2 Flashes in Crisis. Make it more that way, where a character could show up here or a character could show up there. Now, if they do that right, that's exciting. What I don't like is when I hear companies now say diverse, because to me, diverse means I'm hiring you because of your skin color, your gender, or because you're a letter community, not for your skills. Now, you can go out there and find people. You look out there. If you see a really talented writer, you're like, I want a black writer. They're talented. Sure. But from past things, like your comic books, and I've seen some of them, like I saw a thing where Max Versaggio was like, my editor doesn't even check me. Like, really? That's not how that's supposed to work. But that's a diversity hire. If you're doing that. I'm not even saying Max is going on. I'm not even getting into that. I'm talking about if I am being a black man and I'm writing for you, your job is to edit my work to make sure that it's as pristine as it can be. But if you just let me go off the hand, I'm like, yeah, sure, you're black, whatever. That's stupid. That's dumb, and that's kind of racially motivated. The Snyder Cut came about because of fan campaign online. Do you feel like you need to strike a balance between being responsive to fans and charting your own course as a company? How responsive do you believe DC should be? We're always going to listen to our fans, but we are in service of the broadest fan base, and we owe them an integrated, holistic strategy. I agree with that. You want to go for the common person who's not into all the stuff like me. My Batman right here, got my DC stuff up there, got my Marvel up there. That because we're not as important, and I hate to say it, we're kind of a niche compared to the others. So I kind of do get the mindset. We are the shepherds of the franchise, and hopefully, when the fans see what we've got in store, they'll know that DC is in good hands across many different platforms with many different creators. We want different voices in the mix. For certain fans that want singular voices, they may be disappointed. But we would ask them to be patient and see what we've got in store, because perhaps the newer voices in the mix will have just as compelling stories to tell. On balance, you of course want to listen to the fans or your fans, but we do want to stay true to our vision and our mission for DC and build that out. So basically what he's saying is that we're going to cut out a lot more straight white males and put in black men, black women, lettered community people, the LGBTQ, whatever other stuff goes with that, because there's a lot. Transgender people, things like that. I don't think that's a bad idea to get these other voices to tell, because DC has a lot of characters. You could really honestly tell a lot of stories, like Milestone and stuff. But I feel like this is going to be more of straight white males exit out. So once again, it's inclusion has exclusion of somebody. Instead of it being, let's just have all types of voices, let's bring in more. You'll see. But if they don't, great for them. I would like to see the people like Snyder and stuff who I want to see, because giving me those choices, there are people who I'm not going to like to see. I'm not a fan of Ta-Nehisi Coates, and I don't think it's cool that he writes Superman and Captain America when he celebrates 9/11 and thinks that it was a good thing. Sorry, it's true. I don't agree with that. So I don't think he should write characters like a Captain America or a Superman who represent the United States. That's just my personal opinion. Let's see. We have weekly meetings with our key execs in every division. Last August, I was made head of studios and networks, and I have all of the creative groups underneath me. So now around the table, it's not just Warner Brothers Films, Warner Brothers Television, and Warner Brothers Games, but it includes HBO, HBO Max, Turner Networks, Adult Swim, The Kids and Family. So basically, he's like, we're going to just spread across the board. Everything we own, we're going to utilize. Especially since, they did the bloodbath and chopped up everybody anyway. We are involving all those people. Our plans are going forward. That means the media is going to be more connected, sometimes in subtle ways and sometimes more overt ways. Like opposite the Suicide Squad, we're spinning out Peacemaker, with James Gunn and John Cena passionately developing that for HBO Max. It's my job to make sure that we serve up our fans across all demos and all fan bases. Basically, you toxic man babies who are the hardcore fans who have brought us here, we need you to move aside because we're trying to get these new fans in here. We'll throw you a bone maybe every now and again, but we're trying to get the new fans in here. So you need to just go over to your toxic man baby. That's kind of how that, I feel like that's what he's really saying. But it could go the other way, where he's like, yeah, sometimes we want to do the TV crossover. Sometimes we want to take something that we might like and spit it out here. Peacemaker is not even, Peacemaker is a funny character, but Peacemaker is not that big. They're doing it because John Cena is doing the role. There's also been a toxic side to the fandom, with reports that critics and some of your executives have received threats for not endorsing the Snyder Cut or being perceived as standing in the way of its release. What's your reaction to that behavior? First off, I would like to see receipts, because I keep hearing people say they are, but I don't see receipts a lot. Once in a while I do. But compared to the way they talk about the toxic fan base, it's like out of 100%, it's like maybe 3%, which you're always going to have that no matter what whether it's a presidential thing or politics or anything, you're always going to have a certain percentage that's going to be nuts about it. And yes, you were standing in the way of the Snyder Cut. Yeah, you guys were. We're not tolerating any of that. That behavior is reprehensible no matter what franchise you're talking about or what business you're talking about. I do agree. People shouldn't be toxic like that. That's ridiculous and childish and dumb. And what I mean by this, they were standing in the way. They really were not trying to do that movie kind of thing. Not that they were like, no, like they weren't trying it because that's money. I'm very disappointed in the fans that have chosen to go to that negative place with regard to DC. With regard to some of our executives, it's just disappointing because we want this to be a safe place to be. We want DC to be a fandom that feels safe and inclusive until you start cutting people out. Look at some of the writers that work for your comic books and how they specifically say, I don't like white people. You've had a few. But, inclusive. Now, I will say this. If he pulls on those writers and like, you can't do that or you're out of here, that will impress me. Start getting these writers who are constantly attacking fans and calling them babies, man, like, get them and be like, look, we don't tolerate that here. We're an inclusion thing of everyone's voice needs to be heard. That would be cool. And I'm not saying he's not. I don't know what he's going to do. I'm just going off of past things. If he changes that, I'm down with that. We want people to be able to speak up for things they love, but we don't want it to be a culture of canceling things that any small faction isn't happy with. We are not about that. We are about positivity and celebration. I could agree with that. I think it's cool. I think that's okay, actually. The campaign for Release the Snyder Cut has moved into a new phase. It's now restored the Snyderverse, which reaction to the new campaign we already know. He appreciates the love and work. DC very thankful for many of DC's contributions. We're just happy that he could do his cut of the Justice League to life. Basically they were like, it wasn't a plan, but a year ago comes the completion of his trilogy. We're very happy. Blah blah blah. Basically, he's like, we're not working with Snyder anymore when it comes to this. So just let it go, toxic man babies. That was just facetious. And he does say, we're happy we've done this, but we're very excited in the plans that we have for multi-dimensional DC characters that are being developed. Will there be more of these director's cuts? Will we see a David Ayer cut? I'll just say it's simple. No, even David Ayer said he only has like 3 minutes more footage. Like, it's not enough to make a full cut. So, the director's cut of Suicide Squad is, but to me, I'm like, you don't need an Ayer's cut either. You got the director's cut. The director's cut is much better. It's much more cohesive. You get more of the Joker, all that. So, I think the Ayer cut is fine. Like, why would you need that? Snyder actually did have something. Ayer, even he agrees. So, looking at and they also say no too. Looking at the DC slate, that there seems to be an emphasis on creating opportunities for diverse creators and characters. Literally, it says that. You've got a Latino superhero movie with Blue Beetle. See, not even consistent in her own thing. Sasha Calle becoming the first Latinx actress to portray Supergirl. They can't even be consistent in their own thing. And Ta-Nehisi Coates writing a Superman movie. Is there a concerted effort to take the brand in more inclusive directions? When it comes to Superman and Supergirl and Kryptonians, I'm not as harsh about the race swapping thing. Now, she better be blonde, or that's going to annoy me. But I kind of understand being alien. They're kind of in a weird place. You basically, as long as they capture the look of that character, they hold it. So, for example, Dean Cain is the first Asian American to play Superman. But when I saw him, I looked at him and saw Superman. And the girl that they picked, she still looks close to Supergirl. She just has more olive kind of skin. I can understand that. Like, it's still close to the look. Now, don't go all the way, because if you like take them, like, make them black like me, the story's going to come out a little different. But what they did right there, that little hint, I'm not going to knock them for that. At least that's me. I don't know about you, but when I looked at her, I was like, I could see why they picked her as Supergirl. Like, I could get it. Like I said, Dean Cain worked it too, so certain things I can understand the deviations a little bit. It's super important to me, and it's in the line with what we want to do. We want to branch out and let creators interpret parts of the universe in unique and special ways. Ta-Nehisi Coates working on Superman is incredibly exciting. I can't wait to see what he comes up with. And director Andy Muschietti on The Flash, or Patty Jenkins, Matt Reeves just finished filming The Batman against the odds of COVID. We're so excited to finish that movie and have people see it because Matt's take on Batman is different than the other takes. Even familiar characters have lots of possibilities. Um, as long as it's not Clark Kent, I'll at least give you a shot. If it's Clark Kent, your movie's garbage to me. And also, I don't want them to keep reinterpreting characters. Like with Black Adam, all the race swaps, I don't like that. I can understand Hawkman. I don't agree with it, but I can understand it. But I don't since I think they should have went for a more Arabic looking person since Egypt is kind of focused that way. I know some people are like, well, the African most of their history has been Arabic. I think it would have been better served if you went with an Arabic person. But it felt like they were like, well, Africa, Egyptian, black. I know Egyptians. I've known them. I'm not, I haven't talked to them in a long time, but I've known some Egyptians. They don't see themselves as black. They see themselves as Middle Eastern. And as such, I think it would have been better if you went that route. You talked about breaking down silos in the company. What do you mean for DC? Creators want to have a franchise that are larger than life, but oftentimes you start working with a company and that company has discrete divisions. So you become a film creator, you become a television creator, and never the twain shall meet. My role is to pull people together towards a vision that can make the whole more than the sum of the parts. One of the key aspects of that is having a long range plan. These movies and TV series can take 2+ years to make. So if you're not planning out and bringing other people into the plan and further accentuates the silos, it's having the plan and then it's having the strategy where all of the various business work in harmony. Okay, so basically he's saying that he wants to copy the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He wants the TV, all that. That's pretty much what it is. That's why Marvel got rid of Agents of Shield because they wanted it all to be one cohesion with a few parts outliers like Joker's an outlier, the cartoon movies are outlier, but like I said, the Flash crossover. How did viewers and fans see the org charts when it came to DC? They saw the character in the movies. It had nothing to do with the character in TV, except for the multiverse, which people agreed with. But okay. Creating that more unified vision, which is coming together with Peacemaker spinning off Suicide Squad. You'll see a lot more going forward. This is just reiterating what I said. Fan spots, Easter eggs. They're making a connective tissue across all of it. So even if Flash may go into another dimension and now meet up with like Peacemaker. Ray Fisher has accused Warner Brothers executive racially biased behavior, trying to impede on an investigation and alleged misconduct on the set of Justice League. Did you investigate, collaborate, any claims to racism or any part of employees? Nor investigator Judge Catherine Forrest has issued statements specifically about DC Films President Walter Hamada, saying that there is no evidence of interference of Walter in the investigation. She said that the cuts made in Joss Whedon's version of Justice League were not racially motivated. We took it very seriously, so we hired a top investigator out there. So they're basically saying he's not corroborated. Ray Fisher has previously stated that because of his non-disclosure agreement, he can't share specifics about the abusive behavior he endured on the set of Justice League, and there's an NDA that would prevent him from publicly sharing all the details that have transpired in Justice League. And he says, not that I know of, no. And I'm hearing that too. A lot of people have been saying there is no NDA. So they don't know what he's talking about. Walter Hamada has been on the receiving end of a lot of criticism. What was his involvement in production of Justice League? Well, I'm not even going to read that part because I already know that because I've seen that too. He wasn't really involved in Justice League. He wasn't running DC in 2017. When Justice League was completed and released, he wasn't put in charge of DC Films until the following year. Yeah. So I don't know why people are saying that. So I don't even think I need to read the rest of that. There's some other stuff in here, you can read it yourself, but I don't know why people are blaming him. He wasn't a part of it. That's also the reason why I'm so confused about Ray Fisher, because Ray Fisher was like, it was Hamada. Hamada wasn't there yet. You talked about and listed a broad range of voices when it comes to charting the future of DC. Is there one person calling the shots? The connective tissue in the middle is Jim Lee, who oversees DC Comics. Jim lives and breathes the canon of DC. He works with all of the divisions to make sure storylines are true with canon. He helps them come up with ideas. Okay. So he's basically saying Jim Lee's the man. I've seen Jim Lee. I don't think Jim Lee's that guy. I think he's more of a figurehead. But they're basically saying they're leaning on Jim Lee, even though they did the same thing about Jeff Johns, and Jeff Johns wasn't even involved in everything. But there's not one person calling the shots, because I want all the voices in the room to offer their expertise and knowledge of their formats. He helps come up with ideas and storylines. Jim is very much in the middle of everything. Yeah, except you and Hamada are calling the shots, and Jim Lee. Because if people are saying stuff, you're going to be the ones that make the decision to shoot it down. So you should just be saying, we're open to hear everyone's ideas, but we're the ones running the show. You do need a singular vision. I'm sorry, Disney has proven it. When you have a Kevin Feige, even Kathleen Kennedy, whether you love her or hate her, she's had billion-dollar bangers. I don't care if you like the movies or not. Let's go with the facts. The facts is that, except for one film, all of her films that she has done has actually broken $1 billion. And that's not normal. So, a figurehead does make a difference. As superheroes pop up in movies, on television, streaming shows, and games, how do you make sure there's not too much of a good thing? Couldn't that lead to oversaturation? One of the reasons I'm excited about our strategy going forward is it is multidimensional. We're not just serving the same fan base with the same creative vision. We're trying to expand it. Not every fan has to love every piece of what we're doing, but we're putting out more tentacles to be able to reach people with different stories on different platforms, so there isn't fatigue. It's not just the same cadence. We're going to mix things up. We have a slate of DC movies, but it will be richer and more multidimensional with broader array of characters that will help reduce the fatigue, because you'll see a whole lot of story about the Flash, and then you'll see sequels like Aquaman 2 or new takes on Superman or Shazam, which plays to a family audience. There would be fatigue if we stayed with a singular path, but because we're broadening, we'll have much more potential growth franchises. So basically what he's saying is that we're going to just throw everything out there and see what sticks. We got Doom Patrol, Titans. We're going to basically put stuff here, so maybe you like the TV stuff more. We're going to have video games. You just need more video games, period. I mean, Suicide Squad and that Batman Group 1, 2, you have Injustice 3. You guys should be making way more video games than that. So all in all, what I see here is basically she's saying that they want diverse voices. Hopefully that doesn't exclude straight white males. But they want people across the board. I do agree with that. I think for the lettered community, there's a lot of DC characters that would serve up really well and have a trans person write like a trans character like they did with, and use a trans actor like they did with Supergirl. I think Dreamer, that was awesome. How Supergirl handled Dreamer, I'm all about that. I think Dreamer was excellently handled. But I would like to see more of that myself. But you don't always have to have insert I'm black, so I have to write a black character. Insert I'm a woman, so I have to write a woman character. You can have people do these other things too. I know that's hard for a lot of people to swallow, but you can. So, yeah, pretty much it. So, I want to know what you guys think. I just wanted to go over where DC's direction is. Basically, DC is going to throw everything out there, try to hire more Latin people, more diverse. Now, like I said, they could be going the proper route, like Matt Reeves, for example. Straight white male, they're doing that. So, as long as their inclusion includes everyone, and it's not excluding people, I am down for that. I do think the company could use some more synergy, so I'm okay with that too. Like how they had the Titans and stuff and the multiverse. Like, I'm okay with the synergy thing. It's as long as you're not just throwing everything at the wall. And Like, for example, I don't want to see a black Clark Kent. I don't want to see you guys racially swapping so much, it's ridiculous. However, I do want to see a standard storyline. So, for example, Aquaman is a part of the Snyderverse. The things that happen in Justice League are a part of that. Wonder Woman is. So I do want to see if you're going to use those actors that continue. Cavill should be still doing Superman. That's dumb that you don't let him. That's dumb. So I think there should be one DCEU, just like the TV shows have their things, and then you do things sporadic. So you have these two lines going straight up here like this, right? And you have branches. And those branches are from that, like the Suicide Squad. But then you also have the leaves on those branches that are like a Joker movie. Or like maybe you'll do the Batman that, I don't know if they have Superman in that universe. Maybe it's more like a Nolan kind of thing. So yeah. So as long keep those two and do that. I don't know, but tell me what you think. Sorry it's a long video. I wanted to go through this. This is the Geek Protagonist. You stay safe, you stay healthy, you stay real, and I'll see you.